Bruno Fernandes has shocked everyone. A massive contract from Saudi Arabia is already on the table. Nicolas Jackson is leaving Chelsea to become a Bayern player. İlkay Gündogan is closing in on a move to Italy, and Tottenham are ready to spend 80 million on Savinho. All that and plenty more in today's episode. But before we kick off, let's make a deal. 300 likes on this video and a brand new episode lands tomorrow. Sound good? Right then, let's jump into the fresh transfer gossip. The GUEHI situation is heating up, and now Manchester City have entered the race. Up to this point, it looked like Liverpool were in pole position for the Crystal Palace captain, with their interest dating back to May. Other clubs tried to intervene, but none were a real threat. City, however, are a different story. Friends, don't leave this video without reacting. It really helps the channel. Drop a like or dislike right now and leave a comment. We'd be grateful. The Daily Star report that Guardiola could enter the center-back market if City managed to sell Nathan Ake and Manuel Akanji. Everton are interested in Ake while Galatasaray are eyeing Akanji. If those moves happen, City would have the space and budget to challenge Liverpool for GUEHI. The problem for Palace is obvious. His contract expires next summer, and he has no intention of signing a new one. That means sell now or risk losing him for free in a year. Palace would prefer to keep their captain, but the situation is forcing them to negotiate. GUEHI is valued at around £35 million, and City are open to that figure. For them, it's no issue, especially as the 25-year-old fits Guardiola's philosophy perfectly: quick, reliable, and with years ahead of him. Still, there's a caveat. The Daily Star exclusive feels more like pressure on Liverpool to raise their bid. Too many ifs, maybes, and conditions. But even if it's just noise, the fact City are now in the mix makes the deal far more tense. In the end, it's classic English drama. Liverpool have been chasing GUEHI for months, but could lose him at the last minute if City accelerate and take him for themselves. Andre Onana's United story looks like it's coming to an end. The 29-year-old keeper never really lived up to the hype after signing. His errors cost United points, and both the fans and the coaches have lost faith. The club are ready to listen to offers around £30 million, and Inter Milan are the frontrunners. That's where he played his best football, and heading back to Italy could be his big chance to reset. The issue? United's own keeper situation is messy. Altay Bayındır got his chance against Arsenal, and blew it with a mistake that cost the game. So right now, if Onana goes, there's nobody ready to step in. That's why United are working hard to bring in Sen Lammens from Antwerp. Reports say personal terms are agreed, and the deal's around £22 million. Antwerp wanted £17 million, but the fee's gone up in talks. The Lammens deal is interesting. On one hand, maybe Onana goes out on loan if the Belgian arrives. On the other, it's a big warning shot for him. Step it up. At that price, Lammens isn't coming just to sit around. Onana, meanwhile, has suitors not just at Inter, but also across Europe and even in the Middle East. Plenty of clubs still believe in him, and he'll surely want a fresh start after a rough time in England. For United, the big question is whether they can sort out a proper replacement in time. The squad's improved, but without a safe pair of hands, there's no chance of competing at the top. Lammens could help, but only if the Onana situation gets handled quickly and cleanly. Tottenham are back on the hunt for firepower up front. This time, all eyes are on Savinho, the 21-year-old Brazilian winger who's already making waves in Europe. Ben Jacobs reports new talks went down over the weekend, with Spurs ready to splash more than €70 million. The snag? Manchester City are digging in, and they're not letting their gem go that easily. City reckons Savinho's worth north of €80 million, and it's not just about the fee. The hierarchy believes selling him now would be a strategic blunder. Pep Guardiola and his scouts see him as a star in the making, and they're holding on for dear life. For Spurs, it's a nightmare. Thomas Frank's men have already been burned this summer. Eberechi Eze looked nailed on to sign from Palace, only for Arsenal to swoop in at the death. That sting forced the club to double down in their winger hunt, with Savinho now the #1 target. The Brazilian skill set fits Frank to a T. He's not just rapid down the line. He can beat players one-on-one, carve out chances from nowhere, and pull defenses apart. Goals aren't his thing yet, but his flair and creativity are exactly what Spurs need after missing out on Eze. Problem is, it's stuck. Even if Tottenham go as high as €80 million, City can still slam the door shut. This isn't about cash, it's about pride. City are convinced Savinho is theirs for the future, not for a league rival. And the clock's ticking. The window's about to close. Frank's out of options, and City won't budge. It all comes down to the final days. Unless Guardiola softens, this transfer is going nowhere. Joshua ZIRKZEE could be on the move, and soon. PSV are serious about the Manchester United striker and want him on loan. No official bid yet, but the Dutch club are preparing talks. They see Joshua as their main forward and want to offer him a guaranteed starting spot, something that could massively boost his World Cup chances with the Netherlands. So, what's his situation at United? 49 matches last season look solid, but only 7 goals. And this season, 2 league games gone and not a single minute on the pitch. No appearance against Arsenal, none against Fulham. With Šeško and Cunha now in the squad, his chances are shrinking fast. Formally, his contract runs until 2029, and the manager insists he's important. But in reality, Amorim has other priorities. He's backing the new arrivals, not those stuck between the bench and the starting 11. On top of that, Napoli have entered the race. With Lukaku injured, Antonio Conte is looking for a replacement, and ZIRKZEE is said to be his personal priority. Conte values his composure, mobility, and versatility. And of course, ZIRKZEE has Serie A experience. He impressed at Bologna. So 2 clear options on the table, both with guaranteed game time, both with big opportunities. And for United, a chance to clear space and avoid the dilemma of keeping an unhappy player on the bench. Now it's down to the club, and to ZIRKZEE himself. Sitting in reserve and waiting, definitely not the best option. There's some interesting movement around Nicolas Jackson at Chelsea. Bayern Munich have suddenly decided to go for him, just days after Max Eberl said they weren't involved at all. And now, Christian Falk reports the German club have already reached an agreement with the player himself. Here's the situation. Jackson is no longer needed at Chelsea. That much is clear. The Blues want to sell and use the money to fund moves for Xavi Simons and Garnacho. They've put an £80 million price tag on him, which is steep for someone surplus to requirements. Bayern, though, want a simple loan, with no obligation to buy. Unsurprisingly, Chelsea don't like that. Meanwhile, Aston Villa have joined the race, and they might actually have the edge, because Jackson prefers working with Unai Emery. Villa are also pushing for a loan, and could even offer better terms than Bayern. Newcastle are circling too, but they're not real contenders. Bayern do have one big advantage: Champions League football. Villa will only play in the Europa League, having just scraped into Europe on the final day. That factor could swing it, and Jackson is said to be open to a Munich move. Eberl's behavior is curious. First, he admitted Bayern were limited to loan deals after missing their main targets, and now, at the last minute, he's trying to hijack Villa's move. You know who else behave inconsistently? You, my dear viewers, who keep coming back without subscribing. What are you waiting for? A personal contract with an option to buy, or your agent to negotiate better terms? The best deal is already here. It's free, and it's worth it. Hit subscribe and stop the transfer drama. The window closes next week, so time is short. Bayern will try to reach an agreement with Chelsea for a loan. The question is, will the Blues accept it? They want cash, not just a wage off the books. Maybe they'll push Bayern into an obligation to buy. We'll see how it ends. Chelsea clearly don't want to lose Jackson for nothing, but keeping a player they don't need isn't much better. İlkay Gündogan is once again searching for a new club. He returned to Manchester City from Barcelona last summer, but now it looks like he'll be packing his bags again. Tuttosport report his agents have already contacted Italian clubs, with Inter and Juventus at the top of the list. The wild part: the German is ready to stretch his salary over 2 years just to find a team. At 34, he's willing to earn less, simply for the chance to play. That's the reality now. Why? Pep Guardiola signed Tijani Reinders, and Gündogan has fallen out of favor. The first 2 Premier League matches, both spent on the bench. This is the same player who helped City win the treble. City are open to letting him leave. He still has a year left on his contract, but there's little point keeping someone the coach doesn't need. Juventus are showing interest as they look for a central midfielder. Gündogan's experience makes him a potential fit, though the club are weighing up whether to go younger instead. On Transfermarkt, he's valued at just €5 million. For a player of his level, that's nothing. But 34 is still 34. It's a sad turn for Gündogan. Just a couple of years ago, he was one of Guardiola's most important men, lifting trophies as captain. Now he's being pushed around by his agents, unwanted in Barcelona, surplus at City, hoping Italy might take him. The question is whether Juventus want a player everyone else is letting go. The class is still there, but at 34 and willing to accept anything, doubts remain. Bruno Fernandes is once again at the center of transfer rumors. You know what else is just as constant as these rumors? The fact that you're watching my videos. Honestly, I see you, but here's the catch. Many of you consistently forget to subscribe. Let's break that habit, shall we? Subscribing is like a perfect transfer for the channel, only free. The Manchester United captain is increasingly linked with a move to Saudi Arabia, and this time it's Al-Ittihad. According to The Sun, they have become the latest contenders for the Portuguese, after earlier interest from Al-Hilal and Al-Nassr. The story has dragged on. During the Club World Cup, Al-Hilal offered a £100 million deal, but he refused. Al-Nassr also made a move this month, but again, no result. Now Al-Ittihad have met with Bruno's representatives in the final days of the window, with talks said to be positive. The midfielder admits, if United decide to cash in, he won't cling to Old Trafford. Sunsport even claim he's asking for a contract worth £33 million per year. Huge money, but nothing unusual in Saudi football. The real question is whether United are ready to let their captain go right at the start of the season. Replacing him so late is almost impossible, leaving the club in a tough spot. But at 30, it's also the age where serious money can still be made to fund a rebuild. Fernandes remains a key figure for the team, but Saudi interest won't go away. Now it all depends on how much the player himself wants to swap Europe for the Pro League, and how badly United need money and change.